handa, gumagalang. Isang puso, one heart. Isang diwa, one mind. Isang lakas, one strength. Katipunan. Hola amigos, it is my early apologies for I missed the last session last week, but now I am back and I would like to share this to the leadership of Latin America. I know it's cold in your area, but it's humid and we just had an earthquake a moment ago. So let Tuhon Jay, Mandala Sofien, Enrique, hermano, and to the rest, I'd like to start off with the session with a quick review of our last session, which was topic on payong. Remember, we have our payong number 1. We have our payong number 2. And we have our payong number 3. This is part and parcel of Petitipirsha's curriculum, which is also seen in the 64 attacks. And at the same time, it is also a subsystem as well. If you remember, payong, as we have shared, is not just a block. It's not just a block. It's not just a block. It's not just a block. But also it could be considered as an attack or a counter-offensive, a contra-offensive movement. It comes with a hit. It comes with a hit. It comes with a hit. So it is also considered a counter-offense movement. Same time, it is all rooted into our 5 attacks. Number 1, strike 2, strike 3, and strike 4. Strike 3 is your payong. Strike 4 is your payong as well. So these two movements, these two strikes, constitutes the foundation for your payong. Okay. Case in point, when we progress, your payong with the hip is also covering your whole system. A counter offense from a center line position, I will evade the strike. And dynamically, I could go in or I could move and cover and strike back. Okay. Also, this could be a strike. And as I move in outside of the line, I could come in as well. So basically, that is where we are coming from. Okay, from a payong standpoint, coming in from your foundation of your strike number 3, strike number 4. So, a payong should not cover your eyes, should just be right above a fist away from your head And this should not be, if this is a blade, it could be floating, but this could be a recipient of a hit to bounce off and guide your frame. And a third hand would come in as a counter offense. If you move your position from this end, you could drop in a number 12 o'clock strike, or better known as your cruzada. So remember, at any point that there would be contact from your payong, you redirect. Any contact from your payong, you redirect. Okay? So that is the review for the payong. And that is a foundation from your 5 attacks with your strike number 3 and number 4. Okay? Hermano Enrique.
Ok, Tuhon. Bueno, ahí vieron, empezó disculpándose Tuhon porque no pudo estar en la clase pasada, pero bueno, ya estamos acá, vimos un repaso súper rápido de lo que vimos la clase pasada, vimos los payones, el desplazamiento y le agregó que también se pueden hacer con los 5 ataques, es decir, vimos los 3 payones de la clase pasada y le aumentó los 2 últimos, ¿no? Y ahí poniendo atención cómo Tuhon hace simultáneo el movimiento del cuchillo con el bastón y esa interrelación que tienen en los movimientos del uno con el otro. Thanks, Tuhon.
All right. Now I'd like to proceed to a very short introduction as well, coming in from a payong perspective to an intro, a basic move that is that you would see on almost every Pekititercha practice, namely in the seguidas. You start up from a cerrada position, preparing yourself from a payong, an inside payong, which could also be interpreted as a broken strike or a jab to measure distance. At the same time, can also be from an inside standpoint, be used as a payong, as entry. Okay? It could be inside payong. It could be also your payong, but a midline payong. Can be inside. Can be outside. Can be outside. So this movement from a cerrada standpoint will be your jab, broken jab. Can be your payong, still broken. Look at the angle. And you could also step back in. So you have one high, you have mid, and you have step back. Okay, so that strike coming in from a cerrada position can be an offensive and a counter-offensive movement as well. Offensive to check To check distance. Counter-offensive, if it's a pylon. You also strike. And you're going inside the opponent. Or you're already outside, you go on a 90 or a 180 attack. You go outside of the opponent. You go for a broken strike. Okay. This starts your sigida. Where in fact, where you are on a close position. You could be here, but this you already know. Strikes. But what if you strike there, you're already on a serrada, you could check. You could parry. You could step back. Okay? If I continue, the progression would always come into, look at my foot placement. It should just be shoulder width apart. If ever the size of your regular stick would be your stance. You stay bladed. You bend, micro bend your knees. You do not fight in lock in. You need to bend it. And then you need to check. So you have a light foot. Have your jab. Have your takedown. Have your jab, your takedown. Jab. I take it down. It could be a thrust. It could be a hit on the feet or on the legs. And then I move to my payam or slash. And I'm back. So this is your initial movement for your seguida. In some quarters, they call it a jab, a takedown, and an uppercut. That would just be okay if that would be denied. The jab, takedown, and an uppercut. For boxers, it's a jab, the jab takedown, putting your uppercut from that end. But for weapons, it could be sleeker. This one's my jab. This one's my jab. This one's my takedown, my uppercut, and then my follow-up. Okay, it is a sequence, hermanos. Hermano Enrique.
Thanks, Tuhon. Lo que estaba mostrando, bueno, es parte de unos movimientos que le denominan seguidas, que comentaba Tuhon al inicio que estas son parte del programa, entonces ahí pueden ir viendo los diferentes movimientos que él desarrolló, movimientos juntos, ¿no? Desde cerrada, después lo pasó a abierta, y después, bueno, hizo algunos movimientos con el grunting que pudieron ir apreciando mientras lo realizaba. Thanks, Tuhon.
All right. So that is coming in, that is the initial movement. Coming in from a cerrada, you start it off from a cerrada. Your footwork is shoulder width apart, not too wide. You don't bend too much. Micro bend. Weight is on the lead leg, and then you could shift it back. If I want to have a longer reach, I could jab longer, to jab, and as I bring it down, I do a takedown. I could do this, and I could follow it up. Okay, so it's in the West, they do it as a jab, takedown, uppercut. But for us, let's just do a measure, because this could be a jab, yes, to measure. But this could also be a payong. Payong. I do a payong, and I do a takedown. I do a payong, I do a takedown. It is a counter offense and an offense. I slash, and I cut out. I go inside, I cut out, and then I slash back. So it's a payong entry. I cut the arm or I cut the head, and then from this side, I step back. I step back, and I do a recounter. So from that simple technique, you could expand it to at least 3-4 techniques as well. Coming in from your basic jab from a serrada to an entry payong inside. So this is how it happens. 1, 2, 3, and 4. From an inside perspective, and it is here striking from an angle 1. You do an inside payong, you cut the arm. You deflect, you cut the arm. I step back, I cut the other arm. There are 2 arms. And then I enter back. Hit the head, thrust here, carry out, and then you could do your combinations. But this is just 3 basic movements. The Sigida is a follow-up. It is designed to be a follow-up on the attack or on the counter offense. If the enemy is doing a backhand, this is his elbow side. What I could do is I could still do this. Take down. I could do this, strike. I could do this on a weapon strike, and then take down. And then go for the leg, and then hit the back. So inside, we call it the matapang side. The same combination for the Sigida, for the follow-up, for the Sigida. I could go jab, I could go payong initially, and then take down, and then step back, and then hit the other arm, and then finish with the thrust. If he is outside, what I could do is that I could still jab, or I could still do my payong, step back, take down, hit the arm, hit the belly, cut the belly, boom. Do my double point. Boom. So inside the matapang side or the magulang side, which is outside the elbow, you could do that initial Sigida technique. Hermano Enrique?
Johan, one question. And enseguidas never static, okay? Always in movement.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You train it static, like a group. When you're starting out, no big movements. Like feet parallel, one step back, or you go bladed. You start out cerrada. Cerrada, you could check for a jab.
Okay.
You could lunge for a jab. You could do your payo. Or I could step out and do my other payo outside the elbow. So that would be my initial hit. From this initial hit of a jab, I take down, I step back, and then I re-enter. From a payong standpoint, I could be boom, and then take down. There's the other arm. I hit it, and then I re-enter center line. From outside the elbow, what I could do is I could step back 90, hit him from a jab standpoint, and then cut the head or cut the arm as a takedown. I step back for my payo, and then I recounter. A recounter offensive, I thrust him, and then I finish the job. So
Okay.
it all happens consequently. You have an inside technique, you have a long range technique, you have an outside the elbow technique of the same movement or the same seguida.
Ok, thanks, Tuhon. Bueno, ahí pudieron apreciar lo que estaba haciendo Tuhon con respecto a las seguidas. Mencionaba que son 3 o 4 técnicas básicas o simples, pero siempre en movimiento. Y lo que le pregunté es que si una máxima de las seguidas era hacer los diferentes desplazamientos, porque si se fijaron, cada vez que golpeaba, hacía el footwork, ¿no? No se quedaba estático. Entonces dijo que en efecto puede empezar a trabajarlo estáticos, pero la idea de las seguidas es que se vayan desplazando, ya sea hacia el magula o el macapa, pero la idea es hacerlo desplazándose. Thanks, Suhan.
All right. Case in point, classical form or from the side is that you would see this movement. I am doing a counterbalance. From this side, unbalance, and here, unbalance. I step back, unbalance. I hit back, unbalance. So classically, as it was trained then, you need to seek balance. Boom, boom, boom. This is how the movement. So you would see the changes in the weight distribution. The hip motion and the leg would add in a certain torque to the power. So one could practice weight distribution from your footwork. Then you could do your cross backs, your cross backs, cross backs, your cross backs. So this could happen. This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. So you would see that an X, you could follow on the x-axis as well from the ground. You could. That's basically the movement. But in actual combat, you remain balanced, you remain bladed. The weapon is faster than the feet. The weapon is faster than the feet. So I could hit already 2, 3 strikes. You're not yet moving. So remember, in practice, this is the slow. But in combat, I need to estimate my distance. So the beat would be faster. So some people would dance around. For us, your weapon should be faster because you are on the offensive. But if I am on a counter-offensive, like a strike payong, I need to play on my footwork if I am on a counter-offensive. But if I am on an offensive, try to check that. Hermano.
Ok, Tuhon. En esta parte se enfocó mucho el tema del balance, si pudieron ver, ¿no? Tanto en el balance cuando se movía hacia adelante o hacia atrás, o el balance en X también que estaba demostrando. Entonces, lo que indica también una parte es el movimiento de la cadera que tiene que acompañar el golpe para que salga con mucha más potencia y mucha más velocidad. Por eso es muy importante trabajar el tema del footwork, que es interesante también tener velocidad, pero no solo estático, sino en movimiento y poder acompañar esa parte del movimiento de la mano también con los pies y la cadera, que es lo que da la potencia. Thanks, Tuhon.
Yeah. So initially, that is your initial movement as you start off learning the seguidas as a platform for your practice. So always remember, there would always be levels of heights, alto, medio, and then bajo. So you have your high, you have mid, you have your low. You have your largo, you have your medio, you have your corto. So these are sectors for you to appreciate. So all in threes. You have your, what is left? Cilia, mano, centro. Forgive me. Yeah. So we have my left side, my right side, and my center line. So you just need to remember those things. High, mid, and low sectors. Left, right, and center sector. And your appreciation of range. Largo, medio, corto. So those sectors would play in how you would execute a certain technique. But this is very foundational. Uno, dos, tres. With the footwork, uno, dos, tres. With an evasive tactic movement, going to the right, uno, dos, tres. Going to the outside the elbow, step back, uno, dos, step forward, 90, and then boom, you hit, tres. Of course, from there, you have your follow-up. You could follow up with double force, you could follow your puño, close in. So yeah, that is the simplified version as you would like to enter into learning the Sikida. There will be a number of techniques or number of sets per group who advocates it, but there are certain innovation understandings, like you would see that this jab and this takedown would just be within the box of your set, and then instead of this, you will hook and do a dunggab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Aside from a wide, largo perspective of a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have a medio to corto range. 1, 2, 3. You do a sungkete from that, or tunggab, and then you would see that the handle, you're using this. But from a largo perspective, from a short, remember, your thumb ride is for mobility. For your tunggab, okay? For your thrust, you're nicking it. So that is it. Pascal. Jab, take down, slash. If you're low, you protect your neck. Jab, take down, take off the leg. Go for the balls. If you're high, you do a jab, you protect your armpit. So that is using your short weapon. So of course, there are some people who would do your jab takedown for empty hands. I'd rather not. I'd rather use this. Either holds, shoulder to waist, and then your diagonals. So you go back to foundation on this one. I hope that was something you could appreciate, hermanos.
Ok, Tuhon. Bueno, dijo que, bueno, aparte de los movimientos, una cosa importante es que siempre recordemos este factor de los tres, ¿verdad? Entonces, los tres sectores, las tres distancias y las tres alturas. Muy importante. En este caso, los tres sectores, izquierda, derecha y el centro. Las distancias o el range que dice que es largo, medio, corto. Y las alturas, alto, medio, bajo. Y finalizó mostrándonos cuando estaba con los cuchillos, dónde protegernos en caso de cada elevación. Como vieron que en un caso se protege el cuello, en otro la axila, etcétera, ¿no? En función de la altura que estemos trabajando. Por eso es importante identificar estas tres partes. Thanks, Tuhon.
So Tuhon Fair, hermano Enrique, mi hermanos in Latin America in Mandala Sofien. Any questions you might like for me to answer? I would try my best to answer the questions.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta que quiera hacer? ¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta? Sí, Alberto.
Yeah, Tuhon Jay, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you so much. I hope everything is okay on your side.
Yeah, it's very humid and hot here in New York. Quick question: the seguida concept that you did at the beginning with the cross footwork, forward and backwards, can you the X pattern footwork? Can you demonstrate it one more time, please? With the baston.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat that, or do you want me to explain that further?
Yeah, yeah. You can repeat it.
All right. Remember our point. Our point stepping. Remember my weight distribution?
Yes, yes,
Very light,
yes.
very light. I could shift. And then afterwards, I could do a cross. I could do a cross. Remember, my footwork is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So the X footwork would come in. I could cross this, go back to center, cross this. I could cross this, and then back to center. So it's an X. I cross my feet first, and then I do a back step as well. I do a cross step here, and do a back step there. I could start off as reference my point, and then I could do a semi-cross, back, center, and then cross. I could do a point. I could do a semi-cross, and back, and center, and cross. Okay, again, I start off as reference my point, and then I could semi-cross, in, step back, and then go back to center and cross. Reference. Boom, boom. Boom, center. Okay, I hope you got that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tuhon. Thank you.
Bueno, ¿alguno tiene alguna pregunta más? No, bueno. Así que bueno. No more questions to home. Everything's okay. Everything's clear. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, for your time and your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you as well. And stay safe. And I know it's very late in the evening. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Stay safe and stay healthy. May I close the session with the salutation? Hermanos, join me.
Ahí cerramos todo. Va a liderar el saludo Tuhon Jay.
And that. Ready? Magalang. Respect. Isang puso. One heart.
One heart.
One movement. Isang trust. One strength.
One strength.
Tipunan.
Thank you, sir.
Bueno, muchas gracias a todos.
Good evening, gentlemen. Tuhon,
gracias.
Per, Mandala.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tuhon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Gracias, Per.
Tuhon.
Bueno, thank you
Bye,
for being
chicos.
there, bro Sofiem.
Muchas gracias.
I haven't heard our brother, Sofian.
Yes, it is also almost 3 a.m. in the morning there in Tunisia. I think Sofien is sleeping. Son casi las 3 de la mañana en Túnez. Sofien está desde allá, bueno. Se sumó, pero bueno. Brother Ethan, I don't know where he is, but he was supposed to be here, but he will be in the next.
Don't you worry.
Bueno, muchas gracias a todos y bueno, nos vemos en la próxima. Yo después les
Good night, hermanos.
voy a pasar el video. Bueno,
Gracias,
muchas gracias.
gracias.
Nos estamos viendo.
Gracias.
Saludos a todos. Cheers to everybody.
Muchas gracias Enrique, la
De nada.
traducción ahí. Muchas gracias a todos por estar. Abrazo grande.
Nos vemos, gente.
Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Luego, vamos.
Bye to home.
Bueno, goodbye. See you.